3:17 local time. Snow blows sideways across the northern runway as the first alarm tone cuts through the operations floor at Dooley Air Base. Inside the command room, radar tracks begin stacking fast across the Arctic screen. Long-range surveillance aircraft are picking up unusual movement deep inside the Russian northern corridor. Heat blooms, engine signatures, heavy transport activity. Then another signal appears. A buried transmission site north of the Kola Peninsula suddenly comes alive. No one speaks loudly. The room stays cold and controlled. Officers lean closer to glowing displays while satellite feeds begin updating every few seconds. The image quality is rough through the weather, but the pattern is clear enough. Trucks are moving below reinforced ice hangars. Massive blast doors are opening under the snow line. Mobile launch systems are rolling into prepared positions. That matters. Outside, the Arctic sky is almost black even at dawn. Wind tears across the frozen ground. Maintenance crews move between parked aircraft with their heads down against the cold. F-35 sit loaded under floodlights while A-B-2 Spirit bomber taxis slowly through drifting ice crystals farther down the runway. Inside the operations center, the picture sharpens. Russian Northern Fleet communications traffic has tripled in less than 12 minutes. Strategic radar systems are switching to active search patterns. Long-range air defense batteries near the coast are powering up one layer at a time. Analysts track every change across the giant digital map covering the wall. This is deliberate. Far north over the Arctic Ocean, an American RC-135 reconnaissance aircraft cuts through thin cloud at high altitude. Inside the dark cabin, operators wear headsets and watch signal spikes flood their screens. New radar emissions are hitting from multiple directions now. Some are search radars. Others are fire control systems. That changes everything. The Russians are shaping space. Below them, somewhere beneath the snow and ice, sits one of Moscow's most protected underground weapon sites. Most maps do not show it. Public satellite images blur the region. Supply flights are hidden inside civilian traffic patterns. But tonight the base is active, and American intelligence has been watching for months. Now the movement is accelerating. At sea, a guided missile destroyer cuts through gray Arctic water under low cloud. Ice spray crashes against the hull, while the bridge windows shake with wind. Sailors stay strapped into position as the ship rolls hard against the current. The captain studies the tactical screen without changing expression. Still no panic. The destroyer is part of a wider American screen, now spreading across the Norwegian Sea. Attack submarines are already forward. Carrier aircraft are airborne farther south. Tankers and surveillance assets are holding outside Russian missile range. Every layer is moving into place quietly. No one announces it. They simply react with precision. Then the first dangerous shift appears. An American satellite catches rapid thermal spikes at the underground complex itself. One of the hidden tunnel entrances has opened wider than before. Heavy vehicles are leaving in sequence. Analysts freeze the feed and zoom in frame by frame. Transport erector launchers, missile carriers, long-range systems. The room goes quiet for half a second. This is not an exercise. At the Pentagon, secure lines open across multiple commands. Officers speak in short, direct phrases. Distances, angles, launch windows, response timelines. Nobody wastes words. The concern is not only the missiles themselves. The concern is the position. The Arctic route is tightening. If Russia establishes full control across that corridor tonight, American surveillance lanes narrow immediately. Submarine movement becomes harder to track. Bomber response times increase. NATO air routes compress northward. The geometry changes fast. That is the real pressure. Back over the Arctic Ocean, the RC-135 banks slightly left as another signal slams across its receivers. This one is stronger, more focused. Operators confirm the source within seconds. Targeting radar. The aircraft crew exchanges quick looks but stays calm. The pilot keeps altitude steady. Escort fighters remain 20 miles south in loose cover formation. The Americans do not break position. Still no reply from the Russian side. Then the picture gets worse. A second underground entrance opens near the mountain ridge. Snow collapses down the slope as hidden hydraulic doors slide apart. New launch vehicles emerge through clouds of steam and exhaust. Satellite operators count at least 6 mobile systems moving into firing positions. The timing is exact. The spacing is controlled. This is deliberate. At an air base in northern Norway, American pilots sprint across frozen concrete toward waiting fighters. Helmet visors flash under white floodlights while engines scream alive through the snow. Ground crews pull wheel chocks away. Within minutes, more aircraft climb into the dark Arctic sky. The response is building now, but the Americans still hold fire. Inside the Russian complex, command vehicles continue deploying through reinforced tunnel systems cut directly into frozen rock. The underground base was designed during the final years of the Cold War and expanded in secret afterward. Entire sections sit buried beneath layers of ice and granite. Fuel depots, launch bunkers, hardened communication nodes. Most countries could never reach it. That is why it matters. In Washington, intelligence officers compare live feeds against months of older surveillance data. Something does not match. Vehicle counts are too high. Fuel movement is too heavy. Radar posture is too aggressive. Then someone notices the missing piece: electronic warfare systems. The Russians are deploying jamming platforms around a mountain perimeter. That changes everything. Inside the RC-135, several screens suddenly flicker with interference. Signal quality drops. Navigation noise increases. Data links begin fighting through electronic distortion. The aircraft remains on course, but the message is clear. The Russians are preparing to blind the area. At sea, the destroyer receives updated orders through encrypted burst transmission. The captain reads a message once, folds his arms, and gives a single nod. Combat systems operators begin adjusting engagement zones across the tactical picture. No raised voices, no dramatic movement, just control preparation. Then another layer appears. A Russian MiG-31 interceptor launches from a northern airfield and races toward the American surveillance corridor at extreme speed. Another follows behind it, then another. Their radar signatures slash across the Arctic display like knives. They are forcing decisions now. American fighters move immediately to intercept geometry. F-35 spread wider apart, while support aircraft fall farther back behind the screen. Tankers adjust orbit lanes southward. The formation tightens without losing coverage. This is what the platform was built to do. High above the cloud deck, one American pilot watches distant contrails forming against pale dawn light. Russian interceptors are approaching fast, but staying just outside engagement distance. Close enough to pressure, far enough to avoid crossing the line. The tension climbs anyway. Inside the underground Russian base, missile crews continue fueling systems under heavy camouflage nets. Vehicles reposition every few minutes. Mobile launchers disappear into alternate tunnel mouths and emerge elsewhere across the mountain face. The movement is smart. They are trying to complicate the picture. Then the first direct warning comes. A Russian transmission cuts across emergency military frequencies in broken English. Unidentified coalition aircraft approaching restricted defense zone. Alter course immediately. The American aircraft do not respond right away. The RC-135 keeps moving. The destroyer keeps moving. The fighters hold formation. Still no panic. Then a new radar mission appears from the coast. Fire control lock. Inside the American operations room, several heads lift at once. The signal is stable, continuous, focused directly on the surveillance aircraft. The line is close now. Pilots tighten their grip on control sticks while electronic warfare officers begin feeding countermeasure profiles through the network. American systems respond instantly, shaping defensive coverage across the entire corridor. The Russians are trying to seize initiative, but the Americans still hold the picture. Then the weather shifts. Arctic cloud breaks suddenly apart under heavy wind, exposing the mountain complex below for less than 90 seconds. It is enough. Satellite cameras capture the clearest images yet of the underground site, and analysts immediately understand what they are seeing. Not just missile carriers, missile loading cranes, fuel transfer systems, launch preparation shelters. The site is transitioning toward operational readiness. That is when the order changes. At a classified command center thousands of miles away, final authorization moves through secure channels. No speeches, no countdown drama, just confirmation codes passing between quiet voices. The response begins. Far out over cold water, a submerged American attack submarine adjusts heading beneath the Arctic current. Inside the control room, red lighting reflects across silent faces. The captain watches navigation updates scroll slowly across his display. Target packages upload. Weapon doors cycle open. No one says much. Then the submarine fires. The launch is invisible from above. Only a violent rush of compressed water escapes into darkness as cruise missiles streak upward through the freezing sea. Seconds later, they level out low across the Arctic surface and disappear into the horizon. Hundreds of miles away, another submarine launches, then another. The response is layered. In the air, American bombers receive updated coordinates while electronic warfare aircraft begin flooding selected sectors with controlled interference. Russian radar screens start losing clarity in narrow corridors. Tracking quality degrades. The picture shifts. Inside the underground Russian complex, warning alarms suddenly activate across multiple levels. Officers rush between hardened rooms, while radar crews search for incoming signatures. But the missiles are already low, already fast, already inside the edge of the screen. That is when the trap breaks. Cruise missiles tear across the frozen coastline at wave-top height before climbing sharply toward the mountain ridge. Russian air defenses open fire almost immediately. Missiles launch through snow clouds. Tracers streak into dark sky. Explosions ripple across the upper slopes. Some American missiles die in the defense wall. Others keep coming. The first impacts slam into exposed radar arrays near the outer perimeter. Fireballs punch upward through blowing snow. Secondary blasts follow seconds later as communication nodes disappear under debris and ice. Then the mountain itself erupts. A direct hit crashes into one tunnel entrance, just as launch vehicles attempt to reposition deeper underground. Concrete and frozen rock explode outward across the slope. Vehicles vanish beneath collapsing ice. Still, the strikes continue. American missiles hit power systems next, then fuel storage points, then ventilation shafts connected to deeper underground sections. Shock waves ripple beneath the mountain as buried systems begin failing one after another. The Russians try to recover the picture. Backup radars activate farther inland. Emergency transmissions flood military channels. Fighters race north from nearby bases. But the timing is already gone. The Americans attack the support structure first. Now the underground base is suffocating. At sea, the destroyer tracks every response across the tactical display, while helicopters lift off into freezing wind around the formation. Carrier aircraft move closer northward. Additional fighters establish new patrol lanes over the Norwegian corridor. The sky belongs to the Americans again. Inside the damaged Russian complex, crews attempt to move surviving launchers through alternate tunnel routes, but another wave arrives first. Precision strikes hammer tunnel exits one after another. Snow and fire roll down the mountain face. One blast seals an entire underground section. That matters. The complex was built for survival against direct attack, but not for rapid coordinated isolation. Ventilation collapses. Internal movement slows. Command links begin failing between separated sections underground. The base is losing cohesion. High above the Arctic, Russian interceptors continue circling aggressively, but their ground coordination is collapsing underneath them. Radar coverage is breaking apart. Data quality drops. Fuel states tighten. Their pressure weakens minute by minute. They came in hunting. Now they're falling back. Inside the American command network, officers continue tracking for signs of escalation. Nuclear forces remain untouched. Strategic assets remain outside engagement lines. The response stays narrow and controlled. This is not revenge. This is control. The final wave arrives just before dawn fully breaks over the Arctic coast. Long-range precision weapons slam into hardened communication towers above the mountain, while electronic attack aircraft suppress remaining radar sectors. One by one, the surviving signals disappear from the tactical screen. Then silence spreads across the corridor. No launches, no tracking locks, No active targeting radars. Only scattered emergency traffic bleeding through damaged channels. The attack has failed. Hours later, smoke still pours from fractured tunnel entrances along the frozen ridge. Burned vehicles sit half buried beneath collapsing snow, while rescue helicopters circle cautiously above the ruined complex. Large sections of the underground facility are gone completely. American surveillance aircraft remain overhead, watching, tracking, confirming. At sea, the destroyer continues north through gray Arctic water without changing course. Ice spray crashes across the bow, while sailors return calmly to normal watch rotations. Aircraft continue launching from the carrier farther south. Submarines remain hidden beneath the cold Black Sea. The formation stayed intact. That is the answer. In Moscow, emergency meetings continue behind closed doors as analysts measure the scale of the damage. The underground base was supposed to survive anything short of full war. It was hidden, hardened, protected beneath ice and rock deep inside the Arctic shield. But protection means little once the picture is lost. And tonight, the picture was lost early. American systems tracked the movement. American forces held the lanes. American coordination stayed ahead of every shift. The Russians tried to pressure the Arctic corridor and force the United States backward. Instead, they exposed one of their most secret military sites to a layer response designed exactly for this kind of fight. The mountain burned. The radar picture collapsed. The launch systems never fired. And when dawn finally spreads across the Arctic ice, American aircraft are still overhead, American ships are still moving, and the northern corridor is still open. So here's the question. Should the U.S. have gone even further, or was destroying the base enough to send a message? Drop your take in the comments.